What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL Show, the official channel of the All 22 Fantasy Football platform. It's the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters, including offensive linemen, where you get to choose personnel packages and have access to PFF grading and advanced stats to make decisions each week. To learn more and sign up, go to all-22.com. Ray, we are continuing this effort that we've been doing to make sure that we get through all the positions before the draft. It's been a little challenging. We've had some personal stuff going on, but I am very excited for this episode because there's been a ton of talk about this linebacker class being essentially the best linebacker class in years. I'm very excited to talk to you about it afterward because I definitely have some thoughts and I'm curious what you think as well. But people, what we do, the way we're doing this, the way we've always done this, we are going to be doing a review of each prospect, giving you a video breakdown where we are not showing highlights. We are showing the trends that make these athletes what they are, so that when your team drafts them or if you draft them in all 22, you know what to expect. Right. It looks like we're going to be starting things off with CJ Allen. Am I correct in that?
CJ Allen. Yep. He's first up. What do you got?
Getting my notes. CJ Allen from Georgia is a true junior, 6'1", 235 pounds. He's 21 years old and he played 579 defensive snaps this year and had a 75.8 PFF grade. So Ray, why don't you lead us off on this exercise?
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of hyped up the linebacker class to kick everything off because we're going to start with some basically teach tape here. So letting it run, basically when the center here is going to climb to the second level, I just like how Allen flows to the ball and he very subtly, just kind of deftly does duck under the block to keep himself free, but you'll see it better from this angle here. 72 climbs up, he flows to the ball and then just that one little subtle step there and dip of the shoulder, gives no surface area, and then just comes in and makes a tackle for a 2 or 3 yard gain. It's very ho-hum, right? We're talking a middle linebacker here, which by the way it's a thick middle linebacker, 6'1", 235. That's a big 235. But really good at, again, just kind of feels the flow of the play in front of him, definitely steps up in front of the block, doesn't go over the top and get sort of ridden to the outside, and is able to wrap up and make the play. And that's the very first snap of the game for him here, if I recall correctly. So good way to start off here. Next play up here, second play out of 5, we're going to have him lined up in the slot. So they're caught in a man coverage situation here against the tight end. And it's not a terrible job, but this is kind of what you don't want him to do. And from this angle, really the only thing I want you to see here is just the length. He's actually kind of there trailing wise, right? But this isn't kind of a long, rangy linebacker here that can really kind of get in there and make plays on the ball. So does a good job kind of sticking with the receiver there, the tight end, but doesn't really have that late burst or that length to just kind of get his hand in there and break that pass up, despite being in a pretty decent trail position, all things considered, against the receiving tight end there. So this is not what you want him to do, but he might not kill you in this position. So we're going to go to the third play here, and we just have the end zone angle here. And if you're going to leave him unblocked at the second level, he's going to do a fantastic job just sort of squeezing the lane to the running back here and giving him no opportunity to cut back. So he kind of works inside out here. And you watch again, I talk about the eyes a lot of times with players. He's got his eyes on the inside hip of this running back here. So he just cannot cut back. He's going to break down in the hole. If the running back tries to just kind of just still run through the hole and sprint and not make a move, he's there. If he tries to cut back, CJ Allen maintains his leverage, eyes on that hip, and is able to, again, just kind of wrap up and make the tackle here. So, again, kind of had a two-way go there, but because of Allen sort of squeezing the lane there and working his leverage, there was nowhere for the running back to go. Am I on play 4? I think I'm on play 4 here. So, again, you don't want to, this is not sort of a sideline to sideline speed backer here. On the reverse, he doesn't have that sort of that hip swivel and that stride to really open up and cut off the angle for this receiver here taking the reverse to really sort of delay turning the corner. The receiver just turns the corner on him right away. He doesn't have that burst to string him to the outside and minimize the damage done on this reverse. So again, not necessarily a huge sideline to sideline guy here, but nevertheless, it's third and I think 2. It's like 3rd and 2 here on this play here. Second half, third quarter of the game here, 3-point game against Alabama. And again, so you see him middle linebacker here, 3. He kind of stands out even without the arrow, honestly. But just kind of take on a block, stuff him short, a yard short of the first down marker. And we're going to see it from this angle here. So he's kind of coming from the backside of this play here to the left of your screen, number 3. He's just going to flow to the ball. And again, what do I talk about, Chris? Eyes. Look at the eyes. So actually, this edge defender is also doing a pretty decent job setting the edge, having his eyes on the backer here. But then you look, eyes down. But look at Allen kind of stalking right here again, just stalking that back, seeing what you hit, seeing what you're chasing. And then he's going to go ahead and make the play short of the first down. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, they also stuffed them again on 4th down. So huge play at this point in the game. That's CJ Allen for you. He can navigate through traffic in the box. He's going to make a lot of sound plays, sound tackles. Not a lot of leakage when it comes to sort of missed tackles or arm tackles. When there's a run in the box and there's just traffic that he has to navigate through, he's going to go ahead. He's going to make the play there. Very sound. But as you get more towards the sideline and kind of work more to the outside or in coverage, that's not what he does best. It's not your best bet with someone like CJ Allen. So this is someone who you can plug into the middle of a defense. He's a green dot guy, so to speak, right? He can call the defense, and he's going to float to the ball and just be a very sound player from day one. Every defense needs one of those, but he's not Mr. Dynamic or sort of explosive athlete in space that's going to make the flashy plays that make Twitter or SportsCenter or anything else. He's a glue guy that's going to hold your defense together.
Ray, do you see him as a 3-down player?
He can play 3 downs, but ideally you could sub him out on 3rd downs if you have a well-built defense and the right personnel, because he's not going to kill you on 3rd downs. And with his ability to kind of get the defense lined up and communicate, he's fine on 3rd downs. But ideally, if you have a rangy guy, you have a good sort of set of linebackers there, you don't want him in pass coverage too often. The further away he is from the ball at the snap, the less effective he becomes.
And do you have a draft range for a guy like this?
I got to take about the draft range here. I would say it's hard. It's hard because he's not a 2-down player, because I don't like drafting 2-down players in the first round. He's kind of like a 2.5-down player, which to me is a back end of the first round kind of guy. I have him right around, probably on my stack around 20th, give or take. He's probably around that range for me. And what's great though is that there's really there's very little bust factor here. This guy's a pro's pro through and through. A slightly bigger kind of Nakobe Dean, but a little bit less athletic, but more so in the mold of his approach to the game and everything else. There's not much bust factor here.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm very excited. People will have to stick around and hear our conversation about him after the film review. Okay, so next up we have Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech, Ray. Senior, he's 6'1" as well, 235 pounds. So similar kind of mold, even though I think visually, we just did CJ Allen. Visually, he does look like a thinner player on film. 772 snaps played on defense this year and a 93 overall PFF grade, which is like pretty elite. 23 years old, though, so we're talking about a slightly older prospect. Ray, 5 plays, 5 minutes, right? Yeah. I blew it out of the water. Apologize in advance. Get ready for the ride of Jacob Rodriguez. So you see the arrow pointing to him here. He is the middle linebacker. Let's go ahead and just run this thing, man. So he's getting everybody hyped up. Here he goes, and he kind of overruns the play. So one of the knocks I have about several of the linebackers we're going to be reviewing today is I think the linebacker kind of position is changing a bit, where teams are kind of teaching these guys to be kind of pass first. They're lined up a little bit deeper. They also semi-train as edge rushers at times. So their responsibilities are kind of all over the place. And here, a lot of these linebackers, and this play shows it, they over pursue quite a bit, and they don't always go to the play the exact way that traditional NFL linebackers would. And that's something I'm noticing with Jacob Rodriguez. So again, this is the other angle. I think this shows it a bit better. Number 10, middle of the screen. And you see 75 already coming down, 55 coming down too. He's doing a good job here, right? He's directly over the ball, which is what a linebacker wants to be doing, is shadowing and staying square to the football. But when you see 75 and 55 cutting down, you want to make sure that you don't over pursue. So here he sees that there's a bit of a comeback with this fullback coming across. So he starts to get a little wide, but he's still fairly in good position. But then he goes really wide, right? And now you see that this hole, 75 is crunching down. This hole starts to widen a bit, and 47, right? He doesn't know, right? Is 47 going to keep the ball and go? Is he handing it off? 47 hands it off to 4. And now this hole is pretty massive, right? You got to split the difference, right? And I understand there's probably responsibilities. Maybe his responsibility was quarterback, but I don't see anybody else looking at 4. So I'm thinking maybe that's not the case as well. You got to split this as best you can and make sure that you can close. And here, he's really just not in a position to finish. And he starts kind of diving. That's a pretty big gain, right? And he was in a really good position to be able to make that tackle. Let's go to play 2 here. So here he is, number 10, again, over the left guard, left tackle in that kind of hole there. So let's see what he does on this play. There's motion and the ball's hiked. And again, it's kind of like they're showing some misdirection. He doesn't really know if this is an option, who's getting the ball. Let's go, right? Great job this time, kind of staying a little bit more square, being a little bit more patient. 47 keeps, but again, you over pursued. Let's run that back, right? So here, stay square, right? 61 is coming on to you. Linebacker's job sometimes is to engage, right? You need to be square. You need to not really give them options. You want to be locked in so that wherever they go, you can go as well, right? Stay square, lock into this block, make sure you're in a position to move. Instead, he over pursues. 61 now can just kick him out. 47 cuts back, and it's, again, like a gain that's bigger than it really should have been. So already I'm seeing plays that show me something that gives me a little bit of concern about Jacob Rodriguez's ability to take on blocks, right? Here, again, I'm just showing the close angle of some of these plays because middle linebackers, you're going to really only see the best stuff in the box. So again, a little bit of motion. Again, it's a lot of misdirection. You don't know what's happening, but 61 is blocking down. 63, 64 all look like they're blocking right. So I would expect between 71 and 61 is where I would see this ball going. So he does a good job, right? He sees it. He's staying tight. Let's see. Okay, did he over pursue again, right? Is 61 going to cut him out? That's exactly what happens, and a cut back and gets a little bit of a gain. So again, I think if he just stays a little bit more square, he's putting himself in great position. He's seeing things well, but instead he's just kind of getting a little bit too far where it's allowing the lineman to kind of box him out. I'd like him to correct that. Stay square, take on the block square. This way he can go left or right, depending on what the running back decides to do. Here he is again in the middle linebacker over the right guard, right tackle, lined up with the running back in reality. Okay, hikes the ball, and it's coming kind of right at him. That's what they're showing him here. And here, he gets blocked on pretty quickly by 55, right? He's staying square. He's mirroring really well. But this time, the lineman kind of goes a little bit overboard, right? And his defensive interior does a great job of shedding, and so does he, right? He gets hands off really fast, and he's able to shed that block and put himself in a great position to finish this play for a very short gain. So I know that he's capable. I really know that this guy's capable of making the plays if he puts himself in a good position. So here he is again as the middle linebacker at the bottom of your screen, showing pass this time. And I like what he does on this play. So let's just run it back really quick. So there's a tight end to his side. He's staying relatively tight as if it's, he's respecting the run while not overcommitting. The tight end comes at him, and he immediately gets hands on. Perfect, right? Let's slow him down. Let's get him off. And look at that trail. That is perfect, right? So let's run that back one more time. So full speed now, gets hands on, slows him down. He's running with him. He's turning with him. His hand never gets disconnected. He's always in a position to make this play. Quarterback goes elsewhere, right? There's no play there for him to throw to the tight end. Sorry, let's run this back. This is a new play. So here we go. We have him as the middle linebacker, pretty much in the center of your screen. Running back is to his side. There's motion coming his way again. And really quick, you can see that the guard and the tackle are basically taking off to the sideline. So he starts to mirror. He is basically in a good position, right? Right here, you could basically draw a straight line from the ball carrier to him. He gets a little bit outrun, but puts himself again because he shadowed so well and he stayed in that lane, that straight line, he puts himself in a great position so that he can pursue this, and there is no cutback lane. For a guy, again, a true senior, 23 years old, this is exactly what you want to see. You talked about CJ Allen maybe not being a sideline-to-sideline guy. I don't have that concern at all about Jacob Rodriguez. So here he is as the middle linebacker. Again, he's going with the motion a little bit, and he's putting himself in position the drop off happens underneath him, and watch him just come down. That's a loss, right? Like that's a loss of one on this play. We're showing it from the other angle here. So he sees it, right? He's putting himself in that curl window, perfect, and then he sees the flat, and he's already off, and he's getting there, and he's sideline to sideline. Dude, that's exactly what you want to see. Ray, I'm trying to talk as fast as I can because I did put a lot of plays in here.
You blew by 5 minutes. Holy cow.
Dude, I'm trying. So here we go again, right? He's running sideline to sideline, putting himself in position. Dude, his pursuit skills are awesome. Love that part of his game. I'm just going to let it run a little bit because I did take advantage of time. And this is, again, where I see a little bit of that over pursuit. You can see, again, it's a little bit of an option. Maybe he has a responsibility to stay outside, so that's what he does. But he gives too much room. He ends up making the play, but I think he just gives a little bit too much room here. And I think 12, dude, real quick. Sorry, I know I'm saying I'm blowing past time. Watch 12. What are you doing, buddy?
It's the wrong way.
What are we doing? Just didn't know what he was doing on that play. All right, so here we go again, middle linebacker. He's calling out things. You can definitely tell he runs the show. And in the pass game, this guy's awesome. He just stays on, puts himself in the window, just spies the quarterback perfectly, tips the ball to himself, interception. This is the kind of game changer this guy really is in the pass game. You compared C.J. Allen to a Nakobe Dean. I don't know what I see here, but this guy is one of the best kind of cover linebackers that I've seen in recent years. I think that part of his game is excellent. I do worry at 6'1", 235, if we're talking about a guy that is going to struggle a little bit in the run, might have a little bit of trouble with vision at the next level when guys are bigger, stronger, faster. But this is a really good football player. And Ray, you talked about C.J. Allen, in this year's draft, maybe falling to the end of the first round and that being the correct range for him. Jacob Rodriguez, I think, is a little bit better. And I think he has a little bit of a higher draft grade. We'll talk about rankings later. But I could see this guy going above a guy like C.J. Allen. And I'm going to save my range for a little later on. I'm not going to blow it right now because I have some hot takes on this linebacker class. We're going to talk about
it. Jacob Rodriguez has like a kind of an internet cult following at this point, and you just fed right into it. So we're going to have to talk about that. But I get it. This is how you could see how cults happen when you watch Jacob Rodriguez. So, dude, that's fine.
Yeah, we're joining a cult.
But in any event, next up we have Anthony Hill. And I can't wait to talk about Anthony Hill. So, Chris, without further ado, what do you have on Anthony Hill, the linebacker out of Texas?
Bro, you were talking about Colts before. I've been seeing some Anthony Hill Colts that are out there. So, Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas, Jr., 6'3", 238 pounds, 21 years old, 563 defensive snaps this year with a 72.8 PFF grade. Let me know what you think about this guy.
All right. So, Anthony Hill. We're just going to go ahead and run it. This Ohio State-Texas game has been pretty darn good to us. Unlike the last couple, we're going to start with a bit of a negative here. So you see him here in the little purple square frame here, number 0. First thing you see, kind of a long, just athletic-looking linebacker on the surface anyhow, just a really long player. But in any event, we're going to let this run here. And with his size and length, he kind of profiles some as a pass rusher, but he needs work, as you see right there. So we're going to go ahead, run it back. They're blitzing him from the second level here, and he's going to kind of attack the outside shoulder of the guard 75 here, but that's it. There's really no move set or plan at this point. Doesn't kind of rip under, do any sort of club rip or swim over. He just kind of gets stuck. He gives too much surface area and can't fight through the block there and ends up on the ground. And you saw this at least 3 or 4 times during this game is from second level rushes, he kind of ended up on the ground. So despite his physical profile, there's some work to do there. In any event, we're going to move on to the second play. And I talked about with Caleb Downs on the other end of this game, negotiating space. And we're going to watch Alan Hill here. And he negotiates space with the cross block here. Does a really good job of just kind of feigning to the edge before cutting back in. So we're going to see it from the end zone angle here, purple square frame here to the top left of your screen. So as the cross block happens, he doesn't immediately shoot this gap of green to his left and just kind of still stays square and at first engages number one on the cross block here. But as the running back declares his move to the inside, he's then going to duck inside and go ahead and make the play. He doesn't stay engaged. He doesn't, sort of play patty cake with the cross block there from number one. He's just going to go ahead and make the tackle. So he flows to the outside as he should to cut off the edge. But when the running back declares, he immediately declares an athletic enough to go ahead and close that hole and make the play. So really good job in space, showing some nuance there from Anthony Hill. We're going to see him here again in the purple frame, number 0, kind of lined up as if they're going to send him again. You have an empty backfield here from Ohio State, but instead he's going to drop back into coverage, do a really nice job cutting off the out here. So before we go to, I'm not even sure we have an end zone angle this play, might not, but Ohio State here is going to try to run a little hitch to the outside with a slot fade, and they're going to really try to read the cornerback here. And if that cornerback drops to the hitch, they're going to throw the slot fade. If neither of those are there, they would then take the out to the tight end, which ideally would have leverage on the inside defender there and should be an easy completion. But Hill takes that away, so none of the options are there. They do a really great job of passing off each receiver to each other and then plastering in zone. So great job. Kudos to the entire Texas defense here, but especially Anthony Hill, the slot receiver. Watch the slot corner here and Anthony Hill again. As he drops, they're just like on a string. They're just on a string together, just kind of mirroring that the outside routes here as the slot receiver, the slot corner takes away the hitch, and Hill does a really great job just plastering and taking away the out. So Julian Sane then goes to the opposite side of the field there. Really great job in zone coverage there from Anthony Hill on his drop. Now you got him here lined up over the ball towards the right side of your screen here. And we got some block destruction, man. We got some block destruction. This isn't a tackle. This isn't a stat, but they were outflanked. So just watch him just blow up the cross block there and alter the path of the running back and allow his friends to go ahead and make the tackle. So if you can watch here, I know the feed's a little bit cut off. They're kind of outflanked right here. You got the wraparound from 85 right here. The running back here can really just read off of his block. If he goes to the outside, you got two defenders here kind of to the outside of the block from the slot receiver here. There's a lot of space for that running back to work with, but he alters the path and slows him up enough for everybody to then rally to the football. Really subtle, but makes a big impact on this play. So great job from Anthony Hill. Again, doesn't make the play or doesn't make the tackle, doesn't record a stat, but he makes this play. Now, Chris, we talked about goal line stands with Caleb Downs, right? Here we have, I think it's second and goal, maybe third and goal right here for Ohio State. This is a tight game. You had Anthony Hill. You saw him here kind of lined up over right tackle. Really good job attacking the inside shoulder of the guard and driving through that to make a play. So you see him here, number 0 in the purple frame. Watch the right guard there, 78. As he tries to come off the combo, Hill does a really great job of just giving him one shoulder and kind of working the inside and then just working to the football and stuffing the running back there. Great job. Great stuff. You really like to see it. But now I talk about eyes. Okay. I talk about eyes and being in full control in the most critical of situations here. Here he is lined up right over the ball in a traditional sort of Mike spot. And he's just a little out of control. Like, I get you're kind of throwing your body around. It's 4th and goal or 3rd and goal here, but make a play. You can't make a play with your head down. You can't make a play. All you're doing is throwing your body around, but see what you hit. I think there was an opportunity here for him to make the play because he got to the hole before the blocker here. If he's in control and if he is square, he can, similar to what he did on the first play of this here, he can destroy the block, sure, but with his head up, he can alter the path of the back again. Instead, he just kind of flies by to the outside and allows the lane to the inside for the running back to score here. We're going to see it again. Just don't leave your feet like this because then you can't help out any other way. So sometimes a bit out of control in the box, right? Good operator in space. That's Anthony Hill. He's got a lot of upside. Really long, rangy, athletic player. but he's pretty raw. You see the flashes when he can block destroy. He can kind of generate a lot of force in his rush and in his sort of pursuit, but he's a raw player. Oftentimes he's the second guy to the ball, not the first. And to me, it's not that he's often out of position or anything else. He's just a raw player that seemingly needs a bit more, just more reps, just more comfort in the game, because he can do everything that you need a linebacker to do. It's just not always just reactive and reflexive to him yet, like it is for someone like CJ Allen. So he needs a bit more time, but there's a lot of upside there. So if we're not going to spoil ranges of where we would take these players, I'll just say if you're a ceiling type of player or ceiling type of scout and you want guys with high ceilings, Anthony Hill's your guy. But there's also a lot to like even right now as a football player for him. It's not just all potential and upside for Anthony Hill.
Dude, I think it's kind of like my secret is that like linebacker is probably my favorite position to review. And it's because of guys like this. Like this is just such fun football. I'm very excited to talk about ranges later and where we have these guys. Very excited to do that. All right, everybody, we have Sonny Styles next up, Ohio State linebacker. He's kind of the voice that everybody's been hearing. Senior, 6'5", 243 pounds, 21 years old, 663 defensive snaps, 88.6 PFF grade. Ray, two guys we're looking at here are being talked about both as top 10 picks. I think this is going to be an exciting conversation, to say the least. But we have Sonny Styles there, number 0, right on the middle left side of the screen. Let's talk about it. Let's watch some film. 5 plays, 5 minutes, right? Let's see how we do. So here we go again. Kind of a little bit of misdirection, right? We don't really know what's happening, but as a linebacker, you want to stay square to the football, stay parallel to the football, but you don't want to miss blocks. You don't want to guess. And here he kind of tries to jump around the blocker 56, who looks very happy to allow Sonny Styles to kind of jump this. And because of that, Sonny kind of ends up on his back and the run kind of moves past him. So talked about that when I was reviewing Jacob Rodriguez. I think some of these linebackers in this class struggle with gap integrity, staying square to the football, and not over pursuing. So let's see what happens on this next play. I believe he is the kind of edge rusher on the right side of your screen, the top of your screen here. So here he's dropping back, getting to his zone, getting to the 50. And sometimes it's just nice to be at the right place at the right time, right? I'm not really sure he did anything spectacular on this play. And this kind of shows you why all 22 exists, right? Sometimes the box score is semi-meaningless, but again, you see him here dropping into coverage, getting to his spot, turning around, finding the football, and it is a positive play for his team, so we're going to show it. And we want to see that he can get into coverage and do his job. And on that play, he shows me a little bit of what he can do. So here again, number 0, middle linebacker on the screen, lined up over the left guard. They're coming out to him, right? They start to engage. And again, he kind of allows the blocker to get to his back and push him away. And it was blown up in the backfield. So again, I think he did a good job cutting this off. But why not keep that integrity and make sure that they're not blowing up your spot and getting extra yards? I'd like to see a little bit more there. So here he is coming out to the slot receiver here. So he's kind of in that space in the open field. It's a fake run. He has to now drop into coverage, and he's getting there, and it's a ball right in the slot, and he comes down the hill real fast, right, and gets to his place. Running back basically just falls down, doesn't want to try to engage. Let's keep it going here. So again, he's in space, he's lined up in the slot, and he's backpedaling with a, looks like a big kind of slot or a tight end. Stays square, does a nice job, gets his hands on, and similar to Jacob Rodriguez, does a really good job just keeping his hands, right? The receiver's on the floor at this point. Next level, you want to be a little bit more careful with just being so physical downfield. It's fine in college, doesn't necessarily translate at the next level, but a really nice job just staying sticky there. So here he is again, lined up on the bottom of your screen as the edge rusher, number 0. He has 2 people already off, jumping out at him, and it is a run play. And this is a tight end that's blocking him on this play. I don't know if he thought it was a pass play, and that's why he's allowing this to happen. But dude, a tight end blowing you off the ball about 4 yards is definitely a little concerning to me. So again, it's like those things with Sonny Styles that in the run game, it's just not perfect, right? It's not perfect. You could be explosive. You could be strong. You still need to be disciplined. Here on this play, again, you could already see that he's over pursued a little bit already. And that's kind of what happens, right? He ends up, Ray, you said it before, like your eyes need to be locked on. You can't put your head down and just hit somebody. You need to keep your eyes up. You need to keep that integrity. Can't just get kind of swept out of the play. This Ohio State defense was nasty. So there was always guys swarming, and there's always another guy to make a play. The next level, that might not be the case. So here we go again. We see him in the middle of the field. And again, he kind of turns his body. He's sideways. He's not square. But the team's really good, and they're going to make the play. But just don't let that happen, man. Like, engage square. Lock in. Don't, like right here when 56 went to engage you, don't let him turn you sideways, right? That's how lanes open. At the next level, that's going to happen all the time if you give them that ability. Here he is again. Okay, middle linebacker over the inside guard. And this is what you like, right? You can tell he's seeing it. You can tell he's seeing it well, and he's seeing it quickly, and he's fast and he's explosive. Just don't allow yourself to freaking get pushed out of the play like that, man. Make the play in the backfield. Engage the blocker, right? Stay square. Those are the things that he's really going to have to learn to stay disciplined on at the next level. Just showing you from the other angle. Like, let's see you right here. Don't just duck and try to get under it. Like, I get you're an explosive athlete, but dude, they're going to just drive you out of plays at the next level when you do stuff like this. That's all I got. You know, I'm really curious about Sonny Styles, and I'm excited to have the conversation later, Ray. I understand this is a converted safety, right? This is a guy that hasn't played linebacker for a long time. And people are talking about him as, you know, potentially going even as early as the top 5. I'll blow it right now that I just don't see that with the film, right? Like, I get all the explosive numbers. I get 21 years old. The play on the field just doesn't show it yet, right? It's great in space. He's great sideline to sideline and in coverage. Those are the things you really like. But I mean, you're playing linebacker. You need to know how to play against the run. You need to be able to maintain integrity in the run game, especially the trends we're seeing at the NFL level where offenses are just running the ball a lot more. I don't know how this translates, but I'm excited to have a conversation about it later.
You're a harsh grader. You are a harsh grader. I get it. It's what you want in the draft, which I think Sonny Styles is a really good sort of case study for what you're looking for in a draft prospect, or what you want out of your draft prospect, be it year 1 versus year 3. So we'll go ahead and talk about it in the audio segment. So my last guy, Chris, is linebacker Jake Golday from Cincinnati. So give us the 411 on Jake Golday, and then we'll jump right in.
Jake Golday, Cincinnati, redshirt senior. So this is a 23-year-old prospect, 6'4", 240 pounds, dude. This is the size that gives you a little bit of that throwback linebacker feel. 681 defensive snaps with an 82.4 PFF grade this past year.
Yeah, 6'4", 240. He's the big-ass guy in the middle. Where's number 11? That's the cool number for all these linebackers to wear these days. Gee, I wonder who started that and where that came from. But without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So you see him here with the arrow identifying who we're working with here. So let's go play 1. And remember our discussion about CJ Allen. So we're playing a box backer here. It's a pretty light box. And we're just a tick late. We're just a tick late over the block from I think the center here. And you're going to see him again, number 11, right here lined up over the ball. 75, 76, actually kind of falls down here, and you get yourself in fine position over the block. I mean, really, the blocker's in bad posture. It was on the ground. You have all the leverage here, but you were just a half tick late flowing to the ball. And this is what happens. It turned a 4-yard gain into a 24-yard gain, give or take. Right here, just flow with the motions here. You see the wraparound from 77. You should already be a step closer to the line of scrimmage and have already cleared out this block from the lineman who fell on the ground, and then you could have made that play in the hole. You see it from the other angle here. It's not that he's terribly slow or confused. He just didn't take that extra, he didn't have that extra half beat there to fully disengage and make the tackle here. And again, it's a game of inches. Those inches make a big difference. So right off the bat, good job kind of working over the block, but you didn't finish. Here, second play here, he's in space, and he does a really good job stringing the quarterback here to the outside and not allowing him to turn the corner. So this is Jalen Daniels, who stresses the heck out of your defense here and can run the ball. And he just does a really nice job not allowing that to happen. So he's going to close the space. Here he does do a good job closing the space between him and the line of scrimmage, right? And then forcing the quarterback back to the outside, but still athletic and long enough to not allow him to turn the corner. Then you're going to have a big collision here, and that'll teach a lesson to that receiver as far as coming back to block him here on the peel back. And then he allows his friends to go make the play. That was
dude. Imagine being a wide receiver thinking you're having a sick crack back block. Like you think you're tough as nails, and you just get freaking lit up like that. That's embarrassing.
And he didn't even
honestly
see you coming. And he didn't see
No, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. So, but again, that's athleticism, that's size, and that's length and stride to be able to prevent a very athletic quarterback from turning the corner on you as the ball carrier. Here again, so now he's lined up kind of as the overhang defender here, and we're going to drop into coverage and do a really good job plastering right here. This is an elongated scramble drill, and he doesn't take the cheese, and he doesn't sort of overflow in his drop. So watch again here. He's on the hash. As the receiver right here that he has his back to starts to settle, he immediately kind of breaks down and goes back and kind of he doesn't continue to flow outward to open up a window to his inside like Jalen Daniels was looking for. At the end of the day, he's not here to protect the sideline, so he does his job. Yes, this was complete. I think the receiver actually stepped out of bounds. That's where that flag comes from. But if you watch from this angle, you'll see it right here. He's going to get into his drop, and as the receiver settles, he breaks down to go back to the inside to prevent that window for Jalen Daniels to throw back across his body. If Golday flows to the sideline with the quarterback, he's just going to hit the receiver that's now covered up by the logo right there for a 12, 15-yard gain. Instead, he settles with the receiver and forces him to throw to the sideline, and that receiver was, in fact, out of bounds. So he actually forces a penalty there by being sound in zone coverage on a very long play where it's easy to kind of break down and forego your assignment there. So nice job staying disciplined. Now here we go. Again, lined up over the mic, over the center here, kind of in a mic situation, and quarterback spy, man. This is the last play of the game, last drive of the game, excuse me. And Jalen Daniels has been running nonstop. Your defense is tired, 3-point game. So fine. I'm going to mirror you as you step up. Again, I'm going to close the space here. Yeah, I get kind of a little bit off base here, but I close the space at the line of scrimmage to prevent any sort of two-way go for your quarterback to scramble. And then I just work back outside and make a nice tackle here. So was a little bit out of position. But again, this is a really athletic player, and he still recovers enough to, again, squeeze and make the tackle on this quarterback. This is the first drive of the 2-minute drill when you're up by 3. They're trying to, again, have a positive play, whether that's with their legs or through the air, and he just put the clamps down. Last play here. Here he is in the frame, and again, traditional sort of off-ball position here, and he does a really good job flowing to the ball and just closing the hole right here. So you're going to see the seam open up between 0 and 4 right here. So 4 kind of takes a step to the inside. 0's getting kicked out here, as you see over the left goalpost, which would open up a nice lane in between the two of them. But Golday works over the block and then just kind of plugs the hole right here and leaves him nowhere to go, breaks down, and makes a nice form tackle to prevent a gain or a touchdown near the goal line. So he can float to the ball. Though we started off with a low light here, he does a good job kind of flowing to the ball and navigating traffic, just not necessarily at a quote-unquote elite level like some others in this class. But this is a big player, 6'4", 240, who runs really well. He can play linebacker. He can drop into coverage. He can rush the passer. He can, as you see, spy athletic quarterback. He's athletic enough to help take that threat away at the next level. He really checks all the boxes that you want from a linebacker. Is he elite at any one thing? Probably not, but I'm not sure he's really bad at anything either or below average at anything. So this is just a really good player in all aspects with really good size, with plus size and good athleticism. Teams are lining up for players like that, especially nowadays in the NFL.
Oh, wow, man. I'm so intrigued by so many of these guys. Let's start talking about it. All right, Ray, before we jump into it, let's welcome in audio-only listeners. If you were just joining the show or joining on your phone, via podcast, I highly recommend you go to YouTube and watch the video breakdown we just did of the linebacker position from the 2026 NFL Draft. This is a legit class of linebackers that we are now going to start talking about, Ray. And I think we're going to probably have some different opinions. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, or we're going to be saying anything really to diminish the quality of these players. It really just may be that there are 5 or 6 really good linebackers, and it's going to be a bit of your flavor of ice cream.
Yeah. So the caveat is, or the disclaimer is, all of these guys are very good football players. Just up front, this linebacker class stretches really well. A lot of times, especially at linebacker, you might have 1 or 2 top guys, and then you kind of have a big drop off because these guys are really hard to find, and offenses really stress them with their scheme and design. That's not really the case here. These guys can play well into the 3rd round and beyond. I think you still are getting quality linebackers heading into day 3. That's how good this class is, or deep this class is.
Right. And I was looking right before our episode at previous draft classes of linebackers, and I'm watching the film of the guys that we're reviewing, and I'm saying in past years, there was maybe 2 of these players in the draft, maybe. And a lot of times there was only 1. So teams were basically in a really tough position where in the 2nd round or the 3rd round, they're overdrafting some less than quality guys. This year's that's not going to happen, right? I think these guys are going to go, and teams are going to be very happy to do it. But like we always do, let's start at the bottom. We've reviewed 5 guys. If there's another guy you have in the mix and you want to throw him in, fine. Who's your 5, Ray?
Oh, Chris, my 5th guy of the 5 we reviewed is Jacob Rodriguez.
Oh,
it's Jacob Rodriguez. He's my 5th.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a really good player.
Surprise.
Yeah, and he's a really good player. Okay. Yeah. I just and maybe it's just I'm scarred because of the team that I watch or that I root for, right? We haven't stopped the run in like 20 years at this point. Mm-hmm. And so I want someone who's really sound at that sort of thing, as opposed to a playmaker. I'll get my playmakers elsewhere, my athletes elsewhere. I was hoping for more sound play from Jacob Rodriguez down to down. I think we talk about 10% highs, 10% lows, and then the 80% in the middle. Jacob Rodriguez probably has like 18% high, 10% low, and then whoever can do the math, the rest is kind of in the middle, right? So he's got more highs than most players, but that middle, I think there's just, it's not quite as buttoned up as some of these other players in this class. And I think even for some of the other linebackers that we'll get into and that we reviewed, I think they have the ability to be, even if they're also not quite as sound as someone like CJ Allen, they have more of an ability, or have shown more flashes in that sort of box game to become more sound players in the future than Jacob Rodriguez has. I think there's just a little bit too much variance down to make me feel totally comfortable, or I'll say as comfortable as some of these other names. In your average draft class, in any, in a non-2026 linebacker draft class, I'd be super excited about this guy if I'm drafting him on day 2. And I still am excited about drafting him on day 2. But there's a lot of other good players here that I just feel a little bit better about.
So that's where I think you and I see this class a little bit differently. For one thing, I think we have the draft range just about the same, but I have him at 3. So, again, it's like, this is the linebacker position. There is a value to linebackers in the way the NFL teams see linebackers. And I was looking again, I looked back at some previous draft classes, and we forget that guys like Peyton Wilson went 98th overall, right? Edgerrin Cooper,
like no knees. Like he had I don't even think he had like knees in his anatomy, but yeah.
Edgerrin Cooper at 45 overall.
Oh, teams a lot of draft, Chris.
Henley, Trenton Simpson, those guys were both middle second round pick kind of guys. Drew Sanders went mid second round. Leo Chanel went 103. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think we really like this class, but you also have to be realistic about what NFL teams are going to be doing and the value of the position. So I have Jacob Rodriguez third overall, and I would take him in that kind of like pick 45 range. And I really like him. Really, really like him. I get what you're saying though, like, right? Like, you do worry a bit in the run game that is this guy going to be able to take on blocks? Is going to be able to hold his ground? But the thing I would counter with that is that he is extremely quick to diagnose plays, right? He has that fast twitch diagnostics that puts him in position really well and really early. Yes, at times I called it out, right? He'll over pursue, he'll get turned. He is lighter, but he's 235. It's not like he's 215 or 220. Like, he is like, he might end up being 240 by the time the NFL season starts, right? And that's okay, right? That's not terrible. But what he adds in the pass game, the fact that I think this is probably the best receiving linebacker in this draft, dude, like, that's huge. Every NFL team is looking for that. So I don't know. I have him a bit higher than you do, obviously. But this is a player I would say, like, I very much like. And if we were doing like our all 22 era breakdown, he would definitely make my like top 12 list of guys in the all 22 era that I like. That's how much I like this guy.
Yeah, that's, if your third linebacker is making the top 12 in the all-22 era, that shows you what a good class this is. I probably have to recalibrate the whole where would I draft these guys question to account for how linebacker is being drafted in this league, because, or maybe I don't. Maybe the league needs to recalibrate to me, because I mean, I would have because if I needed a linebacker the last few years, and you just told me where all those players were drafted, I would have had a linebacker core of Leo Chanel, Edgerrin Cooper, and like, I wouldn't have had to invest super highly in like any of these guys, and I would have the best in the league. Maybe because I just value these guys higher than others. Right. But the league, they adjust, right? We talked about how just a few years ago, it was all about, speed and length and that sort of thing. And now they're kind of getting back to, hey, more traditional running the football downhill and everything, right? Everybody got small, so now we're going to get bigger on offense and try to push the ball, downfield on the ground as opposed to through the air a bit more. So there's maybe linebacker's just going to come around, right? That's actually for another episode of all 22. But yeah, I would say, right around 50. I'm totally cool with Jacob Rodriguez. And so however that falls in your position stack, I think that range, that mid-second round is fine. That's where he should be going.
Yeah. And so I said 45, you said 50, fine. I think he actually is somebody that will get drafted higher than both of what we're saying. Like, we're saying where we would take him, right?
Then they're
where we kind of expect mixed with.
Yeah.
But I think he goes earlier. I think he's a first round pick in this draft. Like, in reality, I think he goes.
You are part of the cult. You are part of the online. Is there like a Discord you all hang out at? Like, just the Jacob Rodriguez fan Discord?
Probably. Yeah. But I'm just saying, man, like, cover linebackers are tough. They're tough to find. And this guy can really do it. Like, really do it.
Man, give me a big safety or something. First round, damn.
Because think about it. I mean, all right, think about it. I had Jahad Campbell as linebacker 1 last year. I would have Jahad Campbell. I would have him linebacker 1 of this class.
Okay, good.
Right?
Good. Yeah.
I would have him linebacker 1 of this class. And I don't think it's particularly close. He went 31st overall last year, 31st, 32nd.
No injuries,
But it was a better class, right? It was an overall better class. And that's why I'm like, Jacob Rodriguez, I would have nowhere near what I had with Jahad Campbell. But with the injury stuff with Jahad Campbell and with a stronger draft class, they could end up being the same exact range, which is crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about. I feel crazy after that. So I guess who's your number 4? Do I have to give my number 4? Who's your number 5? Who's number 5?
Yeah.
You didn't. Yeah.
Thanks for paying attention. Yeah. So my number 5 is CJ Allen. And I think you're not going to like that one. Yeah. And it's funny because this is like, we're just coming from 2 different places. You're a Cowboy fan. You haven't had a CJ Allen in years. I'm a Packer fan. I have Edgerrin Cooper and he's doing all the things I want. Right. So like, I'm not going to love a guy like CJ Allen. And not to say that I don't like him. I just not in love with the guy who is, again, 6'1", 235. So the same size as Jacob Rodriguez, but a guy that size should be able to cover and should be able to go sideline to sideline. CJ Allen can't. And he also, like, I worry that he's not as good as an athlete as needs to be a run defender at the next level even, right? So if he can't go sideline to sideline, he's going to be a bit of a liability in the pass game. And he might be kind of like not a good enough athlete to make all the plays in between the hashes. What is that? Right? Like that's a role player. It's a special teams player and a role player, right? You were debating it. You were like, this is a 2.5 down guy. I think this is more of a 2 down guy. And then he's adding value on special teams. I still like that, but to me, that's number 5. And I would take him in the 3rd round of this class.
Chris,
tell me why I'm wrong.
If CJ Allen stayed in college for 5 years, so he was as old as Jacob Rodriguez when you were watching,
he's going to be a better athlete.
Yeah. He's young, dude. He just turned 21 years old. Number one, like last month.
He should be light. His limbs should be. All of his joints are in a good place. They're all strong and healthy. He should be the best athlete he's ever going to be right now. If you told me he's going to get stronger, I'd tell you, okay, great. But he's 6'1". How big is he going to get?
He's big hands. You're a big hands guy, right? He's got big hands for the strike. So that goes to yeah. So I get the profile. Like the profile's not the best, but within that profile, he's so good. Like he's just so good. If you're just playing between the tackles, he's probably the best player in between those tackles, like on either side of the ball at whatever he's doing.
I don't think so.
He's the best at it. He's the soundest tackler. He's the soundest tackler. He diagnoses incredibly well, incredibly quickly. He's getting the defense lined up. He is the one. He's the bus driver. He's the bus driver there. And where's the bus factor there? Where's the bus factor? There isn't one. And he's driving the bus for the rest of your defense. He makes everyone better by getting everyone in position and by doing his job in the box between the tackles. He cleans up in there. Everybody else, he frees up everybody else to do whatever it is that they do best that would complement his skill set. It starts there, right in the spine of that defense with CJ Allen right there in the middle. And he was 20 years old. He did that for Georgia. He was calling Georgia's defense at 20 years old.
That's great, man. And I get it. Like, that's valuable, but you need to be on the right team. You need to be on the right team where you can be the player that you are. Just so, like, dude, the ceiling on him is so limited. And I say that saying that he's still a good football player. Like, me saying he's a 3rd round pick is saying that he's going to go higher than Leo Chanel. And I think Leo Chanel is very good, right? Like, he's going to get taken in a good rate. Like, 3rd round is still a good prediction for him. But if he's so limited in what he can do on the field from sideline to sideline and in the pass game, I don't know, man. That's real limited to me. And where do you have CJ Allen then?
I have him in the 20s. And here's the thing.
Where do you have him in the rankings, 1 to 5?
Oh, in my rankings, he's 2. He's 2nd. He's my 2nd backer on this list.
Wow.
And we'll get to that in a second. Or not in a second, probably in a few minutes. But yeah, so he's 2 for me. But like, Chris, think of it this way, right? In the NFL, we play all 22. How many linebackers in total are you comfortable with week to week actually just performing well? Like just being consistent? Like 10? 6?
Yeah, 6 to 10.
I don't even think it's 10. I think it's like 7, right?
Okay.
Somewhere around there. I'm not going to do the thing, between those two numbers, right? I said them, but not quite consecutively.
You did it. You did it with your hands. I don't like you.
I think he's that guy. Like, exactly what you're going to get every single week, and it's very good. It's never going to make SportsCenter. It's never going to be a Twitter highlight, except for maybe the nerds out there, right? Maybe there's a nerd Discord, all right, where you're making me sound like I'm in the CJ Allen cult now, and I'm not.
You
truly am not.
You have but like 2.
Yeah, I want my middle linebacker to be a glue guy that can call everything out and just set the pace, set the tone.
Dude, do you know why Leo Chanel can be that kind of player? Like what you're describing is like the Leo Chanel type player. Do you know why Leo Chanel could be that? Because Nick Bolton plays next to him, right? Because he has a linebacker next to him that can do all of the things that he can't do. That works. But guess what? Like 22 of the other teams, all 22 of the other teams, LOL, don't have a Nick Bolton on their team to complement him, right? Maybe 10 of them do, but 22 of them don't. So if he's on a team where there's not that other guy, I have major concerns. Major. You're going to take him top 20?
If you can't stop the run, this guy like fixes that. He fixes a very important part of your defense.
I don't think he does, dude. You're talking about him like he's 255, 6'4", 255. He is 6'1", 235.
I also don't know if I believe 235 because look at him. He looks a lot bigger than anybody you've ever seen that's 235.
You keep talking. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is a thick player. He's big. He's stout. I didn't see him get drifted. I didn't see him like get drifted backwards. Like did you ever see him get driven backwards? I haven't.
His combine was 6'1", 230.
Yeah, he was drinking pickle juice. He was probably losing weight, just to try to run better. I don't know. Broski. Are you sure about that, man? You're sure you're taking a guy that's 230 at middle linebacker who can't cover in the top 20? He can kind of cover. You're treating him as if he's like,
you're talking about a top 20
Jasper
linebacker.
Brinkley.
All right, man. Let's move on. It sounds like maybe our number 4 is the same. Maybe we're going to be in the same realm about somebody else. Do you have Jake Golday at number 4?
Jake Golday's number 4.
Okay.
I need to catch my breath. Why don't you talk about him? I'll talk about him. Fine.
Yeah, you did the film.
I'm not. Yeah. So this is he's big, he's fast, and he's pretty disciplined. That's a great start. That's a great start for any linebacker. There's nothing he doesn't do well, right? I'm just not sure what he's elite at. Even with his size, he's not, even for a backer, like an elite blitzer or elite rusher off the edge. He's not an elite cover guy. He's not an elite sort of, diagnostic type of player in the box. He's not, the guy that's just kind of, when you freeze frame it right after the snap, he's already a step and a half to the ball and everybody else is just kind of getting out of this. He's not that guy. He's a 7 out of 10 in everything. And 7 out of 10 is very good. But at like really good size and athleticism, that's a very, very good player. That's a top 40 player. I feel like I say that about 50 guys at least in this class, but this is a top 40 type of player. A great profile who does everything well, who's athletic and big. What's the hole that you can poke other than, you're not elite at whatever? He's a darn good player at pretty much anything you ask him to do. He's very scheme versatile because of that. He can allow you to be creative with your defense because he can play any number of roles given his size and speed and athleticism. And being a good tackler, a good hitter, you can deploy him in many different scenarios, and that really helps the rest of your defense as well. This is a really good player.
So, agree with everything you said. This is a guy that, like, crazy comment, ready? Would not be surprised. I had him at 4. Would not be surprised if in 3 years he is the best linebacker of this group. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. We're talking about, like, I say it all the time when we talk about linebackers. Like, a lot of times they put these linebackers in ridiculous positions that is almost impossible to be successful. But when you're talking about a guy that's 6'4.5", he's not even just 6'4", he's 6'4.5", 240 pounds, can potentially get up to like a 250 kind of range, who had a 7.02 3-cone and a 4.62 40-yard dash, 39-inch vert. Like, he's a great athlete too. All of those things add up to me to, okay, he tells me that he's a good enough athlete and he has the exact size I want for a middle linebacker. What did the film tell you? Oh, the film told me that he's actually plus in coverage. Like, he's not a liability at all. He's better than the average linebacker in coverage, and he's pretty darn good in the run game. He can maybe get a little bit better at some of the things he does in the run game, but he's still good. And at, again, 240, can get up to maybe 245, 250 with that frame. 3 years from now, like, again, I would very much not be surprised if this is the best linebacker of the group. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's funny, Ray, because you're doing the film breakdown of him, and I'm seeing some things that he's doing that Sonny Styles did, but the difference is one of them plays at Ohio State. So there's 5 other guys that are going to be top 15 picks that are going to make all the plays around him, where when Jake Golday didn't make those plays, it's a 20-yard gain. Like, you reverse those situations, it's a totally different picture, right? Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the number one linebacker of this class 3 years from now. I like him a lot. I have him at 4, but the difference between 4 and 1, this is my kind of thing that I thought was going to be kind of mind blowing for some people. 4 and 1, not a big difference right now in terms of what I think they can actually be. It's really just flavor of ice cream. And right now, because he is the 23-year-old that played at a small school and, again, like, didn't look like he was a perfect prospect on tape, I'm going to put him towards the bottom of that group. I love this kid.
Yeah, he's very, very good. And we talked about some of these bigger linebackers. They're having the most success in the NFL right now. Honestly, they're the ones that you can kind of rely on week to week, and they profile or they result better than they profiled coming into the league, where sometimes you think it might be a bit limited and that sort of thing with all the speed and space. But as the NFL kind of goes back to that downhill game, this is exactly what you want someone like Jake Golday for, someone with that size, but yet the athleticism in the middle of your defense there to kind of combat that. So I wouldn't be shocked if any of these names from 4 onward become the best linebacker in this class 3 to 4 years from now. Yeah, it wouldn't be a shock at all. Jake Golday has just as good a chance as anybody else.
Okay, so I gave my 5, 4, and 3 was Jacob Rodriguez for me. Who is your 3?
My 3 is Anthony Hill, the linebacker out of Texas. And 3 and 2 is incredibly close. I already kind of gave away my 2, so that's fine. I think Anthony Hill, for me, is right there with CJ Allen, honestly. And it's probably the most flavor of ice cream thing you can get, because you got CJ Allen, kind of the stout, just, sort of stalwart there in the box between the tackles there. And then you have Anthony Hill, kind of the long, rangy, athletic type, in-space mover, can kind of get caught, giving too much surface area, can kind of end up on the ground, that sort of thing. But he flashes and he can make plays in coverage. They're yin and yang right there. If you could get both of these guys are the perfect complement to each other, Hill and CJ Allen. But Anthony Hill, he's got the length, he's got the frame, he's got the size, and he's got the movement skills, and he flashes. His flashes are as good as anybody's on tape, just in the class, bar none. He's just as good as Sonny Styles' flashes, honestly, to me. And so you have that type of upside on someone who is making some plays already. That to me, that draws me in. So yeah, he's my 3, but he is right up there with TJ Allen. So to me, like, he's a top 30 player for me in this class. And I'm just smitten with the upside there. There aren't a lot of upside players also at the top of this class. Like, you have like your top handful of defensive prospects that are all going to go in like the top 12 picks. Mm-hmm. Then you have a couple of offensive guys. And then there's like a bit of a middle ground where in those late teens, you don't really have like those super upside type of players. But then beyond that, I think Anthony Hill is someone who fills that void as far as someone who has the upside to be like a top 6 player at his position if everything comes together. Anthony Hill has that type of potential. And I think he has a pretty darn good chance of hitting it, honestly, because of the flashes that he does show. It's not as if he's constantly blown off the ball or is constantly overrunning plays or just is confused out there. No, it's just that it's not quite as quick for him as it is for someone like a CJ Allen to diagnose and kind of make the plays that way. But he's always in the mix. He's always in the mix. It's flickering. It's flickering. If that light can stay on, you got a hell of a player there. So I'm a huge fan of Anthony Hill. Like I said, if that light turns on, you got yourself a top flight coverage linebacker. You got someone who can make plays in the box, who's physical enough to destroy blocks and really muck it up between the tackles as well, and who can run with anybody in coverage. So yeah, I don't know what there is to not like about Anthony Hill, especially when you consider his upside.
Sure. I don't know if you remember, Ray, when we talked and we did like our film review of Edgerrin Cooper a couple of years ago, because I said a lot of the same things you just said, but I think one thing that I gave him maybe not enough credit for is like, he was so freaking explosive. And if you put that into the right defense, it really is mayhem for the opposing teams. And like Edgerrin Cooper has been causing mayhem for every team that he faces. Needs to stay healthy, right? And that was a bit of my concern. It's like plays a little bit over his skis, can be over aggressive, uses his body as a weapon slightly too much, where like you don't want him to get hurt, right? He needs to be on the field. But man, when he's on the field, like you're talking about a top 10 NFL linebacker. You said it already, and I'm just going to reiterate it, is that like there were things that I saw where I was like, I like this better than Sonny Styles, right? Like there are things about his game that I like even more, where I said like 1 through 4 in this class, like I like all of them a lot, but I like them differently. And I think at the end of the day, like it's really, really close. It's much closer than the media is kind of letting you think that it is, right? Anthony Hill Jr. for me is 2. I have him at 2 because I see so much of that Edgerrin Cooper to his game, where I already know that like what can be successful. And the combine is just ridiculous, man. 4.5, 140, 37-inch for 10.5 broad jump. Like he's a freak athlete. I wish he did the 3-cone. He didn't do the 3-cone, but like I really like what this kid can be as an athlete. I don't know, man.
6'7" wingspan too. Like, damn.
Yeah, like if I was the Cowboys, like this is the guy that I would want. 100%, this is the guy that I would want. So I talked about, just again, like kind of talking about like draft ranges. I said Jacob Rodriguez, pick 45. I had Jake Golday right behind him. So like I think they're in the same range though. I would say like around pick 45. Anthony Hill Jr. I have a bit higher, right? Wouldn't be surprised if he's end of the first round. Wouldn't be surprised if he's like pick 38, 40, that range, just because it's linebacker. People seem to sleep on them for some reason, even though they are really impactful when they are good. I really, really like this kid. So I guess the conversation now leads to Sonny Styles, though.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing, though. Like, I also heard that, like, the NFL's not quite as high on Anthony Hill as some of us are. And I'm like, I can't figure out why. Maybe it's not on, I assume it would have to then be on, not on field stuff. Right. On the field, come on, man. But these coaches make money for a reason. They get paid good salaries for a reason. Right. It's to make this guy become what he can become and become a difference maker. So I'll just say that. Like, I wouldn't be like, I know where he should go.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the case based on some stuff that some people have said. Interesting.
All right. I did Sonny Styles breakdown, so I guess I'll talk about him. So I don't want to be negative on this because I really like this group of players, but I'm seeing, top 5 picks Sonny Styles, and to me, it just isn't on film. 6'5", 243, 21 years old. This is an absurd freak athlete. Like, Ray, if you don't mind while you're waiting, get some of his combine numbers up so we could just talk about that really quick too. Because like this is a guy that is as freaky of an athlete as can be, especially 6'5", 243, which is again like perfect linebacker size. That's what I want. That's exactly what I wanted a linebacker. But I don't know if he's on the field, the freak athlete, at least yet, right? He's going to be the plus linebacker in coverage. I think that'll translate pretty quickly. I saw that on his tape, but he still has a lot to learn in the run game. He has a tendency to run past plays. He doesn't take on blocks square. He's always kind of giving a shoulder and giving a lane. Sometimes he's guessing which way the running back's going to go, which is not a good thing at the NFL level. But he does see and read the plays well enough to put himself in good position. It's just finish, like square up, take on a block, get hands on, right? Shed. I just don't see it consistently at all. And so I have him at linebacker 1 because the freak athlete, the freak size, playing at Ohio State. Like, I think that this guy's got the intangibles and the physical things that you want as your linebacker 1. But if you took him that early and he doesn't take off being Fred Warner, then you are literally paying a guy top of the linebacker money to be, like who knows, right? Like who knows what it'll actually be, right? Maybe he's a top 30 linebacker immediately. Maybe he's a top 45. I don't know. But if you're drafting him that early and it doesn't pan out quickly, you're not really getting the value until you get to the second contract. And that's when I think Sonny Styles becomes the great linebacker that I think he can be. And I do think he can be a great linebacker. I think it's in his game, but it might be second contract Sonny Styles. That's my concern.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a reason before I go straight to the positives, right? Or transition to the positives. I mean, there is a reason that nobody was talking about Sonny Styles top 5, top 6 until the combine, right? Because that's not quite what the tape showed. Okay. With that being said, 6'5", 244, 6'9" wingspan, 10-inch hands, 4.46 40, 1.56 10-yard split, 43.5-inch vert. Oh my gosh, what? I can't even do the math on this. This is so. What is this? 10-foot, 10-inch broad jump, 709 3-cone, and a 4.26 shuttle. That is just that is insane. That is diabolical athleticism right there. And I will say, as the year went on, he got better. Every single game, Sonny Styles got better. So the tape at the end of the year was better than the tape at the middle of the year. It was better than the tape at the beginning of the year. He improved, which is what you want to see for someone where you're talking about upside. Okay, well, is there any indication that he can get there? And I think his improvement, not just year over year, because there was transitioning to a new position and whatever else, new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, and all that fun stuff, just game to game, week over week, he did get better. And so that you immediately want to see. Of course, if you were to divvy up the Ohio State prospects, the 4 Ohio State prospects in this class, in their own sort of silos, I would say Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles are the more likely to quote unquote bust players than Caleb Downs and Caden McDonald. Those guys are sure bets. You can argue about
100%.
Yeah, exactly. So we can argue about their ceilings and everything else. And I think that's where, when you enter their ceilings into the conversation, that's what elevates the former two names, right? Reese and Styles over the latter, is because their upside, as good as the upside can be with someone like Caleb Downs, it's just different for those two guys. And I think the fact that he did get better within the year at Ohio State while still being so young to the position is what has people excited to go, well, if he could get better week to week, imagine what he could do year to year with NFL coaching when this is his full-time job. And if we're being realistic, it was his full-time job at Ohio State also. But as he gets more familiar and more reps as a linebacker, we could do great, we could do great things with this guy. It might not take till that second contract, right? He might not be the best linebacker from the class in year 1, but year 2 and beyond, we can make him that guy, right? We can send him to the moon basically in that short of a time span. And I get that line of thinking. That's why he's my number one also, because like the longest yard, right? He makes fast people look not fast. Like he makes all the other super athletic linebackers look not super athletic because of how athletic he is at times. But he does have to kind of clean things up. He does have to, even when he's in good position and he attacks, say, the outside shoulder of a guard or what have you, he doesn't then kind of collapse and squeeze, quite like someone who's more familiar with the position would. So, hey, that's just someone who needs more reps. And so give him more reps and see what happens. Take that home run swing. I get at linebacker, you're not necessarily comfortable taking home run swings. You kind of want doubles, which is why I don't understand why you hate CJ Allen so much. But I get the thought process of Sonny Styles and why people have him, rated so highly. And I think the popular thing, I don't think it's going to happen, especially, who knows how this affects the thought process too, but people had Sonny Styles mocked a lot to the Giants. I would love to have someone like Sonny Styles behind Dexter Lawrence, flanked by Abdul Carter and Brian Burns, and we'll see about Kayvon and whatever else. That's perfect for him. He doesn't have to be the guy. He can just play within himself as he grows. I'm not sure that's going to happen anymore. I'm not sure they go that route, and we'll see what happens with Dexter Lawrence. But teams will have a vision for this guy, and they will talk themselves into drafting him so highly because of the traits. Because man, if he hits, yeah, he could be the best in the league.
I struggle, man, because I get this is a safety convert, right? And that's like one of the things we really have to consider is like he has not been playing linebacker long, but it's somebody that, like, take the combine out of it, right? If this dude was 6'1", 235 like the other guys we've been talking about, and we didn't have the combine numbers, honest opinion, I think he'd be 4 for me. So like the film shows me the fourth best linebacker of this group. That's honest, right? Like that's me being fully transparent. And even the combine, right? What did you still have it up in front of you?
Oh yeah, I got it up. Yeah.
What was
do you want
his
to know?
3-cone?
Very good. No, just kidding. His 3-cone was 709. So 56th percentile. That was his worst.
That's the most important thing for a linebacker. Okay. So again, like not to just totally, because like Jack Campbell has worked out, right? That was besides Micah Parsons, this is my number one linebacker of the all-22 era was Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell, from a size perspective, is very similar. 6'5", 249 at the combine, 6'7", 3-cone. Okay. Like it wasn't just the size, right? And that's why I look at Golday and I say, maybe Golday's going to be the best of this group because his 3-cone was fantastic. It was a little bit better, right? It wasn't Jack Campbell good, but it was better than what Sonny Styles put together. And when we're talking about linebacker athletes, like straight line stuff, jumping, that's great, but it's really how you move laterally. That's the most important thing. So in my all-22 era, it's Micah Parsons, Jack Campbell, Jihad Campbell. Then I had guys like Trenton Simpson, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Isaiah Simmons, Nick Bolton, Overshown, Drew Sanders, Leo Chenal. Like we forget how good some of these linebackers have been. I think I would slot him just behind Jihad Campbell at number 4, just because like the combine numbers and his size are perfect. And I kind of agree, right? Him being a converted safety, maybe he's going to be better than all of these other guys in the pass game. And maybe that's something that will translate right away. Got to figure out if he can play the run, man. Really got to see that. It's a big concern of mine. I don't have him. I don't think he's going to be the best linebacker in the NFL. I don't think that's in his realm of possibilities, but I do think he could be a top 10 linebacker in the NFL.
He could definitely be the best. I'm not sure it's the more likely scenario, but yeah, I mean, I said it before. I think Caleb Downs might be the best player in this class. He's not going to be drafted as highly as Sonny Styles, most likely. And there's the dichotomy.
Maybe we're wrong because like the debate between like, all right, we have Caleb Downs at safety, Sonny Styles at linebacker, Jeremiah Love sounds like at running back, right? We didn't do the running back review, but that's what it's common knowledge. Of those 3 guys, all of those positions don't really get paid, right? If you looked at who's the top paid player at each of those positions, the pay range is probably pretty similar. Why not take the best one?
Yeah, I'm with you. I would take the best one, which is why I would take Caleb Downs. And that's why I have him ranked as the highest of the bunch. But that's the dichotomy is that, hey, I know Caleb Downs today is the best player in this draft, but look at Sonny Styles. Look at what he could. He could even be a boat. Like it could be a boat. That could be Sonny Styles could be a boat. And I get it. I get it. I get it. It's ceiling guy or floor guy, because if you like ceilings, you're going to love Sonny Styles. If you want a floor, a higher floor, more steady, you're probably still going to have Sonny Styles number 1 because he's not a bad football player and he has these elite traits, but you're not going to be one to kind of take that plunge and draft him in the top 8. That's, right. You let someone else take those risks typically. So
yeah, I wouldn't.
What's your risk tolerance?
So for me, Sonny Styles, I start the conversation on him, pick 12 to 15. Like that to me is the right range because the tape is just not showing me that he's a good player yet. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Months ago, I would have been thrilled if he could line up behind Quinnen Williams at 12 to Dallas. That was like,
I think that's realistic.
Great.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think right now, this is just me, like not trusting the media. I think that's a realistic thing, is that he will be there for you at 12. And if not, like maybe he's there at 9 and you trade up to get him. And I think that could definitely be real.
I would take it. I'd be happy with that. And then I'll tell you, you're wrong. He's absolutely going to hit. There's no risk at all. He's perfectly sound as a player. But no, this is an ascending player with elite traits who's a young player. Like, I mean, you could see why teams are just smitten with him.
Yeah. What a fun class, man. I'm really happy we got to do this one. We're going to do Edge next, it sounds like, which I'm pumped about because that's also supposed to be a great class. And then I guess we're going to finish things off with this running back group, which may be We'll see. might be
Save the
interesting.
best for last. They matter.
Yeah.
Great. I'm good, Chris. I had a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun. This is a really good class. This is a good year to need linebacker. You're in luck if you need a linebacker in 2026.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF. And give us a review wherever you watch or listen to your podcasts. And have a great rest of your day.